2 games in 72 hours is never easy, and it becomes that much more difficult with a tough trip to New England ahead. Gareth Wheeler with you. Saturday night, 7:30. It's Toronto FC against Eastern Conference rival, the New England Revolution. Now, Toronto FC are on an incredible run of form. 9 goals, none conceded over the last 2 games, and things are that much more complicated playing the Canadian Championship on Wednesday night. And, of course, Sebastian Giovinco making his return, playing 45 minutes of action. The question remains, are they willing to play these players extended minutes this Saturday in New England? It's even that much more difficult considering Marky Delgado is suspended and the international absences of Michael Bradley and Josie Altidore. These are all difficult questions that have been put on the coaching staff and Greg Vanney.
It's always a challenge, but the good thing is that we know we have guys that we can look to who've been in form recently, who can make things happen on the field. So we'll assess how these guys are bouncing back over the next couple of days. We know this is the last one in the stretch, and then guys have a rest, so we can take that, in consideration.
And let's start off with controlling the tempo. Gillette Stadium, a very difficult place to play. The Revolution are a very athletic, mobile group, and playing with an attacking team at home always bodes well. The turf, obviously an advantage as well. Controlling the space is my second key to the game. Without Michael Bradley, who does so much running both from a defensive and offensive perspective, it's going to be a big-time challenge for the midfield of Toronto FC. There were some gaps between the back three, the 3 center halves, and the central midfield of Toronto FC Wednesday night in Ottawa. That cannot be the case against the Revolution. Diego Fagundes and Lee Wynn, very talented players. They really control the tempo, create for Kai Kamara and Juan Agudelo up front. Lee Wynn particularly, 6 goals, 6 assists on the season for the Revs. He leads the team in both categories. Whether it's Benoit Cheroux or someone else playing that holding midfield role, just limiting space between him and the back line is going to be so crucial ahead of this very important match. And finally, it gets back to lineup decisions for Toronto FC. I mentioned Delgado suspended. I mentioned the absences. Tossate Ricketts has been listed as doubtful after leaving the Canadian Championship game after 30 minutes with a hamstring injury. It doesn't look like he'll play, according to Greg Vanney. So that means, how much do you play Giovinco? And what sort of system do you play? We saw TFC on turf in Seattle earlier in the year play with just one up top. I just have to wonder if you stack the midfield a little bit more against this New England Revolution team, or Vanney can stay tested and true to his formation by playing 2 up front, but that means potentially playing Giovinco over the 90 minutes. It may be the case where Vanney is willing to roll the dice with the 2 weeks rest ahead, understanding that Saturday's game is somewhat of a one-off. He did take Jordan Hamilton off after 45 minutes as well, so the decision at striker is going to be a crucial decision how Toronto FC sets out to play the Revolution come Saturday night. You can watch on TSN and you can listen on TSN 1050. An Eastern Conference rivalry will play out Saturday evening after the Champions League. What a Saturday of football for you. It's a super Saturday for your Toronto FC.